Dave here, how are you? Or should I say Darth here? This is my respirator that I was using on the epoxy floor, and I'm going to talk about this guy a little bit today. We're going to pull the filter apart that it was in it, and I've had a lot of comments that it is Darth Stanton. Now, the only problem with this guy is it's very awkward to wear glasses with. We're broadcasting. Whoa, let's get out here, so we'll transition to that. Darth here, how are you? Sorry about that, guys. I forgot to switch the screen over to the right screen. I'll just recap on everything I was talking about there. It's okay. You have picture in a second. This is great, except for I cannot wear my glasses. So the reason I had no picture there was because I was on the dark side of the Force, and you can't see the dark side because all of you guys are nice. So all of you Lukes out there, I'm going to take this off. That was a bit of fun, and I've got to be able to take the thing off to start. I think I remember how to do it. This one here. I should have practiced this one, shouldn't I? It's there, maybe. That's the only problem with this thing, is sometimes... There, I think that's it. It's this one. That releases this. Yep, and this one on this side. There we go.
Done. Who said I couldn't do it? Okay. Turn it off, and there was no filter in it at that stage either. All right. As I say, it was just a bit of fun. So my face is going to be red for a little bit because as it pulls on your face, it does a really, really good seal. And again, I've got to thank PathTech for sending me that mask. I already owned all of this unit at the back, so the motor section, and I already had this part. So all of that part I bought. But the full face mask, it's great. This thing just kept on pulling down all the time, and I'd gone right off the thing. But since I found out about that mask, I love it. Now, one of the things I made comment in that video as well was the... put it back on. No, Michael, I'm going to leave it off. One of those things about that mask was, you may notice that I put some text in the epoxy video saying that that mask has not been certified to be used with the PathTech CleanSpace 2 unit. Now, it works fine. I'll tell you, from my experience, I found it works fine. I'm not going to tell you that to use it. I'm going to say I used it, and there are two other units that PathTech sell, and they are certified to use that, because these things are used in mining and tunnel boring and all that kind of stuff where you're going down under the ground. You cannot recharge underground because of gases and things like that. Because of gases, you will find that, as I say, those things have to last a full shift. This one, they say, would not last a full shift. So for me in my workshop, to use it for an hour, I can't really see that being a problem. The only problem I have with it, as I say, is wearing glasses, because the glasses stems come back past here and they break the seal. Wear glasses with this one, easy, dead easy. So there you go. We're going to pull the filter cartridge apart that was in that while I was using the epoxy. And as I said, that was fantastic. I could not smell anything. I tried doing the epoxy to start with without that mask, with the ordinary mask. And man, oh man, I tell you what, my head started spinning. Anyway, let's get into the show. I'm going to have a quick read down the side here. Hopefully the picture's coming through well, and also the sound. So what I've done this week is I've punched it up to 1920 by 1080. So that's full HD. I don't know if you're going to be getting full HD coming through at your end. You will have the capacity to go that size instead of being restricted down to a smaller size, but still the quality may end up being a little bit pixelated because the speed of the stream going up from iPlace, remember, is only 0.8 of a megabyte a second, and it can't give you all of that information. Let's read what's going to be in the show, then I'll jump over onto the chat and we'll have a quick look. Make a shooting board in 5 minutes. That's going to be an easy thing, something you may have already. If you've built one of my little projects early in the piece, you can convert it to be a shooting board. That's going to be a bit of fun. Old router with no dust control, another test. So this time I'm going to run a 5/8 round over on it. And we're going to take the round over out and put the a 1/4 inch cutter and do some just freehand with the router and see if the dust extraction works like that. As I say, with that full dado or slot or trench, it didn't catch it. Some people were saying maybe if you let the dust build up, it would eventually grab it, or if you did a plunge and then push the router through, that may have worked as well. Well, it may have. It's not a fault of the dust extraction. That would happen with any router that's got that type of dust extraction on it. So there we go. This week's winner of the Yellow Box Bench Starter Pack, and I'm going to tell you later, and I'll read out some of the reasons why they should win it. Debbie's Workbench. So Debbie has made the Stanton bench. She's used it for cutting up a heap of laminate flooring. Didn't get a chance to do much more. I'll talk you through all of that and throw a little video up. She sent some photos in of the progression. Rearrange your gear to make life easier. Now have a look behind me. I've taken most of my tools out of the boxes and put them on the shelves, and the boxes are up above. I'll go through the reason why. Let's open up the filter cartridge, which we will do. I've done half of it, so you may be curious as to what is inside those. Discussion on epoxy floor. Would I do it again? We'll have a quick chat about that. And Yellow Box Shed Starter Set Bench Dogs, the second week. Have a look in the show. Click the Show More button just below the image here, and you will see there's a link to the latest raffle copter. This is the last week for that. I don't know if I've got anything for next week. We'll see. I'll see if I can chase something up from one of the manufacturers. Greg Bigeni, who won the marking gauge, the Veritas Fine Adjust marking gauge, he sent some photos in of his son Mitchell actually using it in the workshop, and a couple of other things that they've been doing, which is great. Patreon, check out the rewards I'm offering, chat more if it can be squeezed in. Let's have a quick read here. Now, if you haven't watched this show before, just giving you a heads up that my on-air light is not on. Come on, let's fix it. Yes, it is. It's just very weak. I'm going to have a quick read through some of the chat here. As I was saying, if you haven't watched the show before, there's no real format to it. I try and get to things as we're going along. I do a little bit of a read, a little bit of a convo. A lot of the time I encourage people to have a look in the chat box. And if you've got a question, a lot of the people that are watching, the forum members, a lot of those people can address issues if you've got questions regarding woodworking or carpentry or painting. There's a heap of talent here. So take advantage of it. If I can't get to it, I'm sure there's a lot of guys will. Okay, all is good. I'm going to slide back up through here. Carl, the dark side sucks up all the photons. No visible light. Okay. Put it back on, Michael. Stephen Rogerson, hi Dave. Long time since I've been able to see you live. Having a long weekend. I'm going to punch the resolution up on this one. Come on, up you come. There we go. At Nuji near Mount Baw, Victoria. Barry must be Yoda. That's a good call. Dave M, hello from Wisconsin. Peter, is it morning? You all have lots of fun trying to set up the new workshop. Oh, come on. It's fun. It is fun. Mark Bonger's morning, everybody. Hello from Vancouver in Canada from Ian. Steve Wallback. Back to the Prince Nesdave. Okay. Looks and sounds good here for the resolution. John Lowry, all is good. Zane, morning. Fine day in Canberra. Good audio and video from David M. Hilton, morning from Arnhem Land, Australia. Morning, Hilton. How's your toolbox going? If you get a chance, have a look on our Facebook page. Hilton is showing everyone there, and this is the little secret club. You need to apply to get in. Hilton is sharing his wall hanging toolbox along the lines of the Studley book. Now, Hilton, I said I was going to talk about the Studley book. I did not bring it down. So that's the Studley tool chest. I'm going to try and get it out next week. So there were so many things I had to think about this week, and I've got them all set up here, so that'll be next week. Where are we up to? Current resolution 854 by 480 by 30. On air light, isn't it? Well, it is. Steve Rogerson, yes, I do remember you, Stephen. Dave XB, morning from Bris Vegas, I'm guessing. Dave Okay, need a brighter bulb. I might need to... No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. My light is fine. We just go with the flow. Yep. It's great to be here, Ragtai. Ragtai is not going too well. He's in and out of hospital at the moment, but he always makes an effort to try and stay alive for the show, which is great. Thanks, Ragtai. Zane Pixnez over the nose glasses. All right, pinched over the... Okay. Yep. Hey, Rag, hope you're well. Stephen, glasses without sides. Okay. 60 watching, 39 thumbs. Wow, that's pretty cool. Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm wondering if they impact breathing. I don't know. All right, let's get into something. I hope the stream's going well, as I was saying. What I'm going to do is straight up, let's get into the little thing from Brigeni, and I shall read what he's got to say. Hi, Dave. Thanks again to Carbotech and your channel for the Veritas marking gauge. First thing Mitchell said when it came was, cool, another tool, Dad. There he is with it. We're going to make a pencil box together with dovetail joints using this marking gauge. We'll send photos when completed. Please find photos attached of Mitchell with the marking gauge. We're currently in the middle of building a wardrobe with drawers. We've both been very inspired by your current builds with drawers using pocket hole screws. So thank you very much for that, Greg. There's Mitchell showing his drill there, and they've used the packers in between the drawers that they're made with the pocket hole jig, and they're using my system of supporting the drawers on the previous one and putting in the drawer slides. Now, as I've mentioned before, those drawer slides can be, where are we? Go to camera one, this one here. Those drawer slides can be a little bit of an issue. It's a whole lot easier if you just put all your drawer slides in the unit as you're building the unit. So if I've got two sides to a unit, I normally throw the slides in straight away at that stage because, you know, it's just there rather than trying to climb around inside a cupboard. But if you've already got the unit built, and that's the situation that Greg had and I also had here, well then you're kind of stuck. You got to climb around, become a hobbit or a very small person and get in there and away you go. What do we got? Full speed in Ohio, USA from Stephen. Excellent. We have our own Google man in Carl. Yes. I'm reading through. Hello from Thailand, from Barakabak. Well, thank you for watching. All right, so we've done that section. Glasses on, glasses off. I do this all the time. I do it all the time. Look, I'm going to show you some pictures of some of the things down at the Tilba Wood Show. Now, these were sent in. There's just a small show down in Tilba, and it's great to see these community things. I love it. And here's another one of a nice box that was built down there, and I'm guessing that's a toolbox that would it would house, not hose, it would house things inside the lid and also at the top there. Nice joints everywhere as well. I love things like that. Don't you get a buzz when you see something that someone has spent, you know, that's the total focus has been on that particular project. Whether it's an unbelievable engineer who built the Harbour Bridge, or whether it's someone in his garage at home focusing on building a small box like that, or a pencil box like Greg and Mitchell are going to do, I think that's fantastic. All right. Optics make great light, sideless specs. Okay, Thin Optics. Yay, buddy. I'm in Massachusetts watching. G'day, Soldier B. You know what? I think I've got a pair of those. I think I've got a pair. These are the ones that you can fold up and put them in a little thing, put them in your pocket. I'm going to try that. I'll try that with this face mask. Everyone is a winner on this show, aren't we? Double-sided toolbox raffle prize. Okay, Derek, that was you that sent that stuff in to me. Thank you very much. Right, let's have a look at the router. I'm going to swing the camera around. I'm using one camera today, and we'll go with the router to start. A bit of coffee. I'm going to put the router over on this side here. So, moving the camera. Sorry if it's all over the joint. Now, you can see, hopefully, I have this setup, you probably won't see me too much in this, but that doesn't matter. It's not all about me all the time. Okay, Derek, double-sided toolbox raffle prize, respects wood, router or lightsaber? Yes, lightsaber, probably a lightsaber. I'm going to move this over a little bit further here so we don't lose anything. I'm hoping we won't lose anything. I'm going to move this back just a touch. There we go. All right, now the router. This week, I'm going to show you the router here, and hopefully it's all going to work. Now, there's the router, and this is my old Makita. You can see, you can read all the information on it there. I'm hoping that it's picking it up. It's hard for me to spin it around. Now, there is the router cutter. Now, that's the biggest one I've got to fit in there. That is a 5/8. I tried the 3/4, and what happened was this little portable shroud here, or this little clip-in shroud, would not go on while the 3/4 was in there. It was just too big. Now, something I've also found with this, because it's a plastic fitting, you have to be careful that you don't present this part to the piece of timber. You must present the part that's been opened, because this open area here. If you try and push it against the side there, what will happen is this will dislodge from inside the base, and it'll end up ugly. Now, also last week I was talking about these screws. Can you see that screw there? That is a countersink screw. Now, this base plate is made up of two pieces that sandwich together and hold this part. See that? That allows that to rotate. Let's have a look, see if you can see up inside there, which is great. And then this part unclips from there. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Oh, the other thing, one downside of this fitting is you will not be able to put a copy ring in here. See, a lot of routers allow you to put a bushed or a recessed base on there that allows a copy ring to drop into it. Now or a bush to drop into it. You will not be able to do it with this base. I guess I should really do a review on this thing, but I tell you, I love it. And as I say, I was going to bin this router, but I decided to keep it when I found out about Oneida making this thing. If you're after one, I put links in the description box down below. It is through, it's an affiliation through Amazon. If you're in Australia, you better get onto it quickly, because all of that stuff's going to get closed up pretty soon. I'm going to use the 36mm hose this time. Last time I used the 27, and while it worked fine, I thought I'd just show that it'll work with the 36 as well. So I push that on up to there. That's not going anywhere. It ain't going anywhere. And also this week, I'm not going to use any clamps to hold this. I'm going to put two dogs, these guys here, and we're also dog and a dog in the Stanton bench, and the cushion strip should do everything to hold it. The other question I had was, can it go around corners? Well, you can see I gave it a shot yesterday, and it does. So I'm going to do that today as well. So the plan is to come along here. You can see this is the 3/8 that I did last week. This is the 5/8. It's a much bigger cut. Alrighty, I'm going to have a quick read first. Lock the pages will be on the front panel. Nice tool. Wish I had one doing the slots in the standing bench. Yes, that looks like magnets in there. Okay, you guys are having a chat about something else. I'm going to turn the thing on. Now this time as well, I'm going to drop down a little bit so you can see me. This time as well, what I'm going to do is I'm running my router through the dust extractor. Now, someone put a comment on about being able to hook up their machine to another power point that they found, and it would do the automatic switch on for them, which is great. But that's 110 volt. I don't know if there's anything in Australia at 240 volt that will do that. The router that I told you this router last week is a 1500 watt unit. And I also said that my little shop vac with the little Festool SysVac, has got a little thing on the inside saying 1200 watts. It actually says 1400 watts. So I tried it a couple of times yesterday because I don't like mistakes happening while I'm doing this show. It's a bit embarrassing. And what happened yesterday was I noticed that the router started first, and then, maybe a second delay, the VAC started. Now that lets the router, whenever you turn a machine on, the startup ampage is the one that's the drain. As soon as it's up, up to speed, then it's just cruising along at a much lower wattage than 1500. It's only when you hit at demand, or the amps, I should say. So it's a 6.9 amp. This is a 10 amp circuit. I think 6.9 amp is the maximum at startup. So then it would cruise back to something smaller. I can't say what it is, I'm not an electrician, but I would hazard a guess around 2 or 3 amps as it's running, just freewheeling, and that's let the dust extractor get up to speed. Now, Festool say that their machines, all their routers talk to each other, and that could well be true. And the Makita, being Japanese, doesn't talk German. So it doesn't understand German. But the dust extractor, being German, understands that the Makita is Japanese and can't talk its language. So it says, you know what, I'll make allowance for you. I'll let you go first because I'm very polite. And I'll let you start first. I'll follow along behind. So that's my thoughts on it. 1400 watts, I think, is possibly a safety thing. They've built a bit of a tolerance in there. That's what they normally do with things. So 1500 watts going into a 1400 watt socket, I haven't got a problem with. All right, all that said, let's get into it. I'll put this on and the muffs. Okay, thanks, Dave. Wanted to go around the corner. All right, okay. Okay, Apple and Rodriguez, good night. Again, with these things, I'm going to just push this back a little bit further again. Why not? And up a touch. There. Can everyone still see that all right? Yep, beautiful. All right, eye muffs. I push them forwards, bring them down in position. I'll drop down again a little, and then I pull them backwards, like so, until they're covering my specs. Everything's on there. I'll turn this on, and it's on auto, I think. Let's see if it'll start. Yep, beautiful. All good. I should have warned you. I should have talked to the microphone. I should have warned you. I'm going to start it. Turn your sound down. Here we go. Come around the corner. Again, I was just looking at that plastic housing. I'm going to wait till the router stops. And I'm going to rotate it manually. So as I approach, it's going to be fine. It's not going to push it off. Here we go. Around the corner. Now, you guys make your own decision. I'm going to bring it over. I'm going to bring the camera over and you have a look and tell me what you think. Around the corner and along, and look at the dust on the bench. And a little bit down there on the paper, but not a lot. You know, I got to tell you, if that, take the glasses out of my mouth, if that, put that up there, and up just a touch. All right, maybe you'll see me now. If that was, if I did that without any dust extraction, the place would be covered. Look at me, there's nothing on me. You know, it's just, what can I say? I think they're 40 bucks. Grab one. As I say, if you're in Australia and want something like that, do it quick, because you've only got about another 2 weeks to go, and I think we're saying goodbye to Amazon in the States. And also they're saying that they'll work with Australia as far as, you know, pushing things through. Personally, I've found Amazon in Australia to be pretty pricey. You know, I try and find things that are a good value, but you'll notice I pulled the link for Australia at the moment. They've got to get their act together. I don't know if any of you guys out there think the same, but it was promising at the beginning, and I just don't get it. I really don't understand. You'd think they'd want to move product on it. I understand that Amazon, or when you talk to retailers, they say that Amazon wants a lot of money to be able to put their product out there. You know, I don't know that for sure. This is feedback that I've been hearing. Maybe you guys want to have a bit of a chat about that in the background. But as I say, if you want to, grab stuff now while you still can, and away you go. Now I'm going to try it with a 1/4 inch cutter. I'm going to try it with this little guy, just freehand. Now to do that, obviously, I unplug, and I always make sure that I can see the plug, and then I'm going to unplug this from here. That's another brilliant. And we'll get the, I'm going to switch it over. Move that over there. Move that up here. I'm going to move the camera over to the other side. Just makes it a bit easier for everything else that I'm going to be doing on this bench. For the moment, tip it down, and you just see what's happening. Now it might be bright, but that's okay. We'll just leave it go at being bright for the moment. Now you'll see how easy it is to pop this out. Gone. That's the shield. And then, as I say, cable is unplugged. Then I can release this. And let that go until, that's a trick. If you didn't know it, with these old routers, you do this as it's undoing. Okay. It's not going to go any further because the cutter's actually touching. So I'm going to lock it there. And spanners in. Where are we? Oh, got the wrong spanner, have I? Surely not. Oh, down here, you idiot, David. Sometimes. Got it. Take the cutter out. Ha! There's a feature you did not know. Put this in. Now here's something as well. Here's a little tip. When you're putting a router cutter in, don't bury it all the way to the end. Put it all the way in and then pull it back about 1.5 millimeters before you tighten it up. Now why? You don't want to transfer the heat from the cutter, or from the router even, back to each other. If you've got it all the way in, touching the bottom, that's basically touching the end of the armature, and it gets hot. Gotcha. All right, now I'm going to release this, and then I'm going to slowly retract it. I'm not going to go terribly deep. I'm coming in around about 4 millimeters there. Lock it, and then I'm going to put that down there. Move that out of the way now. I've done the fancy thing with it. What do we do it in? A piece of plywood? Why not? And again, this is as good as a router mat. This is not, it's not going anywhere. It ain't going anywhere. I can move John's. What am I talking about? John's dogs out of there. I'm going to do a quick read, Amazon has generally been a fizzer. eBay, Gumtree and others seem to be the way to go. It is on the list, Stuart. John DeBest, good morning from Denmark. Good morning, John. Stephen, welcome to be from the corner. Stephen Wallbank, I have one of John's replacement batteries and charger. The runtime seems to be long enough not to worry. Excellent. All right, plenty. Dave XB, I agree, Amazon is a fizzer in Australia. Yep. All right. I need to plug this back in again. In again, begin again. I'll bring the Dusty over there a little bit closer and rotate this over. Slide that in so you can see what's happening. See, there's the two receivers just here. In. Beautiful. Always, always, always make sure that the router is turned off. I'm not, you know, it's just one of those common sense things that so many people forget to do. This is a very small switch. On other routers, newer routers, it's a much more prominent thing, so it's a lot more obvious if it's on or off. I shall plug it into the outlet, and notice how the dust extractor is playing ball today. I love it. There we go, that's plugged in. And glasses again. And this is just going to be a little bit of freehand. I want to see how the dust extraction goes. Pull that back, this one back. Okay. Okay, so if you're after links, there's links in the description box below the screen for this hood if you're after it. As I say, I think it's a great little idea. Yes, the show will make a couple of bucks from it. Well, not a couple of dollars, maybe 80 cents. But I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, here we go. I'm going to just do a little plunge work. Freehanding. Notice I've gone outside. I think that'll be enough. Nothing at all. And I did take it out past the plate. I exposed all of this area. It's only when you're doing a real deep trench starting from the end, I'm sure, and running, and the end is open, so all of the waste doesn't get caught. Let's try that. I'm going to start from there and run this way. What do you reckon, guys? All right, here we go. If I start from outside, I'd throw it everywhere. Let's start from here. Well, that was pretty good. That worked great. Now I'm going to try it from the outside and show what happens. Well, that was pretty good. Maybe it was just the size of the other cutter being a massive 1 inch. That collected everything. There's nothing. Nothing has gone over the end. All right. Let's move all of that out of the way. And then I'm going to spin this camera back this direction. And like so. And then up a touch. Whole thing seems to have gone pink. Why is that? I do not know. Is it pink to you guys as well? All right, going back. Maybe it was just waiting for me to white balance it. And too low. Dear, dear, dear. Okay. When doing the outside of timber, yes, I always go counterclockwise. The reason being that's the way the cutter is cutting. Now, if you've got a router table, you go the other direction, I think, because it's upside down. Okay. Is it just me or is everything way overexposed? It was overexposed for that area. The reason being, this camera I have set to one setting. It will not change. It just stays there. Now the reason being, if I change it around, if I let it go automatic, you'll get different frequencies are happening in this room and you'll start getting lines flashing all over the place. Okay, all good. So now that I'm back here, that's that part done of the show. Man, oh man, let's get into Debbie's section next. So Debbie has sent in some photos of the bench that she's building. And here we go. We ready? So, hi Dave. I promised some photos when I finally finished the bench. Now, this took a little while to complete. When I got the UJK Path Guide system a while ago, it took a bit of research. That's how I discovered your videos and the Facebook group. Didn't get started on the build until I was about to lay bamboo flooring. I realized I was going to need some help with cutting along the boards to fit and the first and last rows, so I found some eucalyptus faced plywood at the local handyman trading store. Had a few flaws, but nothing drastic. So I cut the board down, used this as justification to get the track saw. Got all the hardware together and started off. This was back at the beginning of March. I knew I wasn't going to complete the full bench as I wanted to use it a bit and needed to do the floor. Got the holes done, 3mm pilot holes, etc. And that's where it stopped until this weekend. Having the house and shed to myself, I got stuck into it. Love the Makita router, but as you mentioned on the show last week, really generates some dust. There you can see it all finished. How good is that? I haven't screwed the track down in yet, or the foam down, as I wanted to check how proud the cushion strip should be. I cut the 3mm depth and checked it, but the foam seems to be below the surface. Any thoughts? Thanks again for making the videos, sharing your bench plans, and sharing your experience. Look forward to using the bench heaps over the years to come in my shed. Debbie. Also, she's used the vlice or fleece, really polished the wax up well. I love it. And how nice does it look? Now, I did make a suggestion to Debbie that she could put a layer of veneer in the bottom of those trenches and glue it down, put some blue tape on top of the veneer so that the glue didn't come over the top and interfere with the stuff that's going to actually, the adhesive on the back of the cushion strip. So that was my suggestion. So back to me. So what do you think? How cool is that? You know, I know people say girls, girls, they don't really belong in a shed. Well, I don't agree. I reckon women have a great time in a shed, and women can do beautiful carpentry projects. There's some women, a lot of women, not just some, I'm not going to be racist, a lot of women, also I'm not going to be sexist, what am I talking about? I'm not going to be sexist, a lot of women do a whole lot better than I've ever been able to do or will be able to do. You know, it's just, have a look at Phoebe. She's doing a great job down in Melbourne, having a ball. And there's another woman in Melbourne called Phoebe as well, who does some stunning stuff. She makes beautiful toolboxes. She went to Sturt School for woodworking. And away you go. Pan, tilt and zoom with preset works a treat. Yeah, okay, Paul, I could do all of that stuff, but you know what? This is running webcams on this particular program. I don't know if I can run any other. I've gone through a whole lot of stuff with this. Normally I have two cameras set up, one for the bench only and the other one for just where you're looking at me here, and it's been working fine. You know, this is, you got to remember, it's just Dave in a shed at his house. This is not a studio. I don't have producers running around. This is me trying to share with you guys what I do, and I get it out there as quick as I can, and every week I try and make it a little bit better. I will look into what you've just suggested, but we'll see how we go. Next thing. So that's everyone looked after there. That's the people, the Sanderinerers. Do you like that word, Sanderinerers? So we've done that. We've got to do this. Make the shooting board. Let's do that. Actually, before that, let's open up that cartridge. I think that's going to be the good thing to do. So I'll show you what's in it. All right. I might bring the camera in closer. Oh, no, I don't need to do that. I think it'll be fine because we're at 19 by whatever. Okay, now this is the cartridge. And I've already taken the back off it. Now this is what is the first part of the back that I took off. This is a gauze that holds everything in place. Under that was this pre-filter. So it gets out the chips, the large stuff that's going to be coming through. Then inside that, and I'll bring this up a little bit closer so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is inside the filter itself. Now this part here is the same stuff that you would see in a car filter. So that is just, it's like a blotting paper. Now underneath here, I thought that because it had that shape, that there'd be two round cartridges inside here, but not so. It's a flat gauze. Now this area here, I presume, is full of charcoal. So let's have a look. I'm going to spin this around this way, tip it down. It's not too bad, you can see that all right. I'm going to do it just here because there's a divider under the bench at the strongest point. Now I'm not doing this on the Stanton bench because it's not designed for thumping on. This one is. So let's see, I've got a chisel here, let's crack it open. Now, Mufama, I have no idea what 2,000 whatever those are, but thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to crack her open. Yep, Phoebe has already jumped in and said to Debbie, good job. This has not been rehearsed. Yeah, it's charcoal in there. I'll take it all the way out to the side. I can see it's bouncing around all over the place already. It's very small charcoal. I'm surprised. I thought it would have been slightly bigger granules, but it's extremely fine. Come on, out you go. Down the side here as well. Have you ever wondered what's inside these things? I've always been curious. I've never pulled one apart. A little bit more to go. One more click. And then we should be able to pour some out. There it goes. Okay, that's the bit of grid gone. Oh, look at that. That is the granulated charcoal, or whatever it is. This is a little gauze and some paper. I'm going to pour some out on my hand. Now, I'm guessing you'd think that looks awful like, let's move those out of the way so the camera can't see it. That looks awfully like stuff that you put in a fish tank in the filter there, maybe a little bit finer. What do you think? All right, I'm going to pour that back in. Well, that was fun, children. All right, tip that back up again, back over this way. I think that's about where it's got to aim. I'll come back over there. Let's see what the next thing is. So what do you think about that? That wasn't terribly stunning, but why not? As I say, it's like a blotting paper. This is the P2 filter. So that's for particulates. Just like in a car, you've got that filter above your carburetor or fuel injection or whatever it is, but your air inlet. And then you've got that granulated carbon charcoal, and I guess it's activated in some way as well, where it does a really, really smick job. You've got 800 kilos of that stuff. Does it smell? No, it doesn't. And that's the thing. See, once the epoxy has kind of, the fumes have kind of set and the carbon is fully loaded, then on here you get a little signal. And that's what I got up here somewhere. There's a little thing, it says filter. There's a red light comes on down here. It says filter, which means you have to change it. So what do you think? That's just a little bit of an interesting thing. You like my shirt, Beavis Motorsport? Well, there you go. So do I. Keeps me warm and hides my tummy. What's the next thing? The next thing, glasses on. We're powering through. Got 15 minutes left. So we've done the open the cartridge filter, the rearrange the gear to make life easier. Yep, that's basically all I've done. Is I've put all of the sustainers right across the top. I'll tip it up so you can see. Like that. So up the top here, class, pay attention. Up the top here are sustainers pertaining to the tools below it. So this has got a whole heap of dominoes in it for the domino. This has got sandpaper in it for the sanders, which are over here. This is the box for the domino, so if I want to take it anywhere, I pop that in there, and then all the gear that's relating to it, I just put it together, and that's the great thing about this system. Back here is the box for the HKC. Back here is the box for the TS55. All my drills I've got here on purpose because I often have maybe 4 or 5 drills all set up with different drills and different drivers, all that stuff sitting on the assembly bench while I'm putting things together. One can have a Robinson number 2 square drive for the Craig screws. One can have a Phillips number 2 for any Phillips head screws that I'm doing. One can have a clearance drill. One can have a pilot drill. One can have a countersink. There's 5 straight off. There's an impact driver here as well. I don't normally use impact drivers in the workshop. It's a little 12-volt Hitachi. I've had it for many, many years, but for very large screws, I'll use that. I find that using them on small screws, it'll strip the threads very quickly on timber. This is a right angle drill that I've had for years and years. This is from DeWalt. This was so I could get in between studs in a wall and drill holes for pipe. Now, I know electricians go in at an angle, but if you're wanting to create a smaller hole that allows for gas lines or water pipes to run through, and you don't want to destroy the frame so much, chopping so much out, well then that's what that one was for. I now have the right angle drive for the little guy, but I don't have a right angle drive for the big fellow. So this is fine for all of that. And down there, I've got other things as well that you can see if you wish. The same kind of thing. And I know it's blowing the light, not to worry. Okay. Let me see, what's the next thing we're going to do? I'll tip this down a little bit, down to there, and then we'll have a look. Next thing. Okay. So the good thing about doing that with those boxes is I don't have to get the box out, take the tool out, put the box away. The boxes are all up there if I need them. I just grab the tool, use it straight away when I need it. That's why I've done it. I've had people saying, oh, you're trying to show off your tools. No, I'm not doing that at all. This is totally about being practical. I've told you guys how I've progressed through time. I buy a machine when I need it. Sometimes I'll buy something for future-proofing myself. A lot of those machines I used during construction. I was introduced to Festool about 7 years ago, and I just fell in love with the brand. And normally if you fall in love with a brand, you normally go along and say, right, well, you will favor that brand. I fell in love with Makita when they were made in Japan. All of my machinery was Makita. Then I went to DeWalt. Now I'm with Festool. And why not? I enjoy it. Here we go. I often use right angle drills. I find the Festool adapter is a bit clunky. Well, there you go. Lostwitz, I have 3 drills set up and 6 Centratec chucks with other drill bits ready to go. Okay. This right angle drill, now get this twin and earth in. That's the next thing. We're powering through. This is going great. Debbie's workbench we're done. Rearrange the gear. Discussion on the epoxy floor. Would I do it again? Yes, definitely. Now, if the video I did, which is, had a couple of thousand views, which is great. Would I do it again? The answer is yes. The video that I did may have come through as though I wasn't overly impressed with the product. I was very impressed with the product. But I wanted to show everyone the little things that if those tiny things might annoy you, a heads up. I try and give you guys a heads up on everything rather than just saying, oh, it's a great product, yes, sail through, not a problem. Well, there were little problems, as I showed you. Now, I've also had some people say, Dave, you can use a hot air gun to get rid of those bubbles in the epoxy. Now, you've got to remember, this is a different situation to if I was building a table with an epoxy feature down the center and trying to heat the bubbles out that are in the mix. These are bubbles that are formed on the surface, and also it's 6 meters by 6 meters. That's not something that I can get around and run a heat torch over something that's maybe only 3 feet wide and can get to it. So the bubbles that I could get to, I managed to hit them with just with a piece of timber. I got a long piece of timber and just tapped them and they dropped, and that was fine. And the bubbles aren't going to run back into the hole again because the same thing would have happened. It was my fault because of that slab. Now you might be saying, well, why did you pour a crappy slab? And I tried to explain that as well. What happened was, we have, the property is a couple of acres, and there's restrictions on getting in here. You can't get a truck in here anymore. So we had to pour all the concrete into the back of my utility bit by bit. I would drive down, we'd empty the utilities contents, we had lined with plastic, into the area here, and I had a couple of guys here raking it out and setting it and screening it as they were going. Now the thing is, because that took so long, we had to wet the concrete up a fair bit to keep it pliable, to keep it workable. Now the more water you add to a concrete mix, the weaker it becomes, and you will get voids because you've got these areas that dry out, and there's nothing much you can do about it. Vibrating it can help a little bit, but not a lot if you've wet the concrete up a lot. And that's what we had to do. We nearly lost the slab, so I managed to save it, and then that's why we ground it, and then I hit it with the epoxy. Also with weak concrete, it is powdery and dusty. Every time I swept that floor, I had to put a dust mask on. So that has been a fantastic result for me. Wet floors, wet shoes coming into that room. I went through it as well. It's the same as if you run into a laminate room, a room with a laminate floor, should I say. You're going to get the same kind of result. If you slip over on a laminate floor, you'd slip over on this. It's the same thing. Not really any different. So would I do it again? Yes, I would. I love it. And that room, as I say, some people are aware of what's happening in there. I haven't, just gone crazy. I'm slowly releasing the information about what's going to happen in there. All right, next thing. Yellow box starter set. There's another one in the description box below. So if you go down, all the way down, you'll find that there's a link there to the latest competition. Click that and away you go. We had a heap of entries last week. And I'll tell you now, it wasn't someone in Australia. Sorry, John, you're going to have to post it overseas. So the rest of the world, you're going to prick your ears up and say, wow, how cool is this? And this week's winner. All right, let's read a couple of entries and then we'll do the shooting board. It's really easy, really easy. Here we go. Here's some of the things that people put in regarding John's set of dogs. Always handy to have a few more bench dogs, never know when you might need them. This will motivate me to build a Stanton bench because not only the best at 3D printing and CNC, but I'm also his biggest fan. John, there you go. Has that made your day? Dave S says they work great. If I don't win these, I will order some. Get ready, John. Love the products, just about to make a Stanton bench to use them in. An old dog can learn new tricks if given a new dog or two to play with. Just getting into woodwork, these would be great to get started. Of course, John makes great stuff. Moving from Georgia to Florida, and my shop will be smaller, so I'll be building a Stanton bench, and your product would be a great starting point. A good set of helper hand. Sorry about that. Itchy nose. For 2 years, I've been building a house and workshop. It would be perfect to have a set of these when I move in. Currently, I have a 4-legged dog in my workshop. Could always use some yellow box shed dogs as well. My wife found out how much I spent on the UJK Path Dog kit and Lee Valley, and now I need John's gear to make something she'll appreciate. Look, there's a whole heap of things have gone in there. I'm not going to read it. There's 3 pages, for crying out loud. Look at it. You probably can't see it, but look, I'll just bring it up here. And you can see that's a heap. All right. Now the winner from overseas. You ready? His name is Dave. And it's not me. The winner is Dave Cash from the Bahamas. Now, there you go. Every time someone from another country wins, I like to check out where the Bahamas actually is. So after the show, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to check the map and have a bit of a squiz, and probably also, poor old John's badly checking how much the postage is going to be for himself right at the moment. Okay, what have we got here? Removable would be good. Sounds good, John. I'll get in touch. I can show some pics of Dave's Facebook group for what I'm using the track for. Okay, just fine. Sand them with the edge of the surface in which they're embedded. Runs the corner. Congratulations, Dave. Exactly right. Congratulations to Dave Cash. We're nearly done. We're nearly done. And I've got 5 minutes to go. And again, the same thing happened. Last night I was thinking, what am I going to talk about on the show? I need to have a drink. I'm coffee in this one. This is soft drink. It's a cola of some sort. Did you know that some people are so fussy about their cola? It has to be the right brand, and it has to be out of a glass bottle, thank you very much. It can't be out of a can. Now, do you have any feelings like that at all about soft drinks or beer or cider or any kind of drink that's held in a can, aluminium or steel, or a bottle? Do you have preferences? Throw them up on the thing while we're doing this last section. The last section is how to make a shooting board in 5 minutes. Let's see where we're at here. I'm going to put this back over here and spin this around here, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm up to. It's going to be bright. It's going to be very bright. But what if I bring this back over to here? Will that be any better? Maybe. What if I tip it up, let it get rid of the exposure problem there, and then slowly down. Maybe if I bring it around the other side. I love mucking around with the settings and seeing what we can do. How's that? That's a bit better. All right. This is my bench hook. I showed everyone how to make a bench hook a couple of years ago. So what we're going to do is simply turn the bench hook over, like so. I'm going to cut this off perfectly in line with that. And I'm going to show you how we continue from there. So I'll use my square. I'm treading over leads and all sorts of things here. Where's my pencil? Clutch pencil should be there somewhere, David. Move this one out of the way. Come around this side. There it is. All right. I'm quickly going to use the square like so and draw a line on the inside. Now the line has got thickness, and where it comes to the top, we should be right. So I have a line, square line drawn around it. You'll see it now just here. And with the bench hook in place, I'll use my little Japanese saw and cut that off. I'm going to go slightly proud of the line. Done. Doesn't it do a magic cut? I love my Japanese saw. All right, now it's sitting slightly proud. Can you see that? Next thing I'm going to do, a couple of pieces of plywood. I'll move a couple of these things off the bench. And I'm going to put that under there. And I'm going to put this one under there. All right. I'm going to get, so that's supporting everything. I'm going to get my Kreg clamp, slide it in. And hold that down. And I know the light is awful bright there and you're hardly seeing anything. I'm going to bring it around this side, see if it's going to make it any better. Maybe, ever so slightly. It's not going to be great. I'm sorry about that, guys, but you will be able to see what happens. You like a bottle, do you? Okay, now I'm going to get my ordinary 4.5 Stanley. And even though it has the edge, the mouth of the plane doesn't come all the way across, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put it on top of here and I'm going to run it along. Now the important thing is you go right to the end. Turn it around just a little bit more. Okay, you come right to the end. Okay, now what we have is there is a slot right the way along the edge here. And this is finished perfect here now. It's not going to worry it. Down the bottom is what is holding the plane. See that? This section here, where there is no cut, is following the bottom. The blade has cut a slight rebate through there and gone flush with the board, with the stop. So now if I want to, I can get a piece of something. I didn't prepare this bit. I should really have got that. Let's see, another piece of plywood. Why not? Now this relies on you having set the thing up in the first place at 90 degrees. This has got to be square. This to that has to be square. That's going to be too wide. Let's see if I've got something else that I can drop in there. I've got these little offcuts of timber down here. That one will do it. This is a little bit of rosewood. What, no? Yes, might, yeah, I think it is rosewood. Slide that in there now, bring it up to there, put this on it, and there we go. Now I can shoot that. Done. What do you think? Did that take us 5 minutes or 7 minutes? Not long at all. Magic. Do you want to see if it's square? There it is. Yep. Done. There you go. Quick tip from Dave, how to make a shooting board in 5 minutes if you've got a bench hook. So that was the only proviso, that you had to actually have made the bench hook. All right, that's it. That's it, guys. Sorry about the camera being very bright there. I probably possibly should have set the other camera up, but I was just being lazy. So, not a problem. Thanks, Carl. Yeah, we'll do is already working on something else for me too. Poor old John. Hope you get lots of use out of them. Yes. What have we got else? Done. All done. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching. Next week, I know the show will be a little bit light on today because it's Queen's birthday weekend in Australia. But that's fine. Not a problem at all. Not a fancy jig from OS Insight. Exactly right. That shooting board cost me nothing. Sorry, there's a couple of screws or nails and a bit of glue. And the pine, if I was to go and buy it, I guess all up it cost me $10 if I was to go and buy the stuff. But if most people have got a bit of timber lying around, and away you go. The square in the vertical. Correct. And also, the other thing is, it's not a skewed blade. You can buy shooting planes with boards that the blade is at an angle, so it's shearing rather than chopping. You know, for small stuff, that's fine. It's fine. The main thing, as I say, is you get that piece square when you glue it together, and away you go. Just use it. Get my bench plans, make a bench, because that's part of it. It really is part of it. It's such a versatile bench. I love it. Anyway, back to the shop. See everyone later. Excellent. The soft drink. No, there's no whiskey in there at all. So I'm going to say goodbye. Have a good week. Be nice to each other, and I shall see you next time.